Hey folks, thanks for stopping by. Today's project is a fun one. We're going to be making an enclosure for a USB drive from a scrap of Bradford pear. Stick around, we'll get started. Okay, preparation for today's build is pretty easy. The first thing you need to do is start with a USB drive, and what you need to do is skin the plastic off. There are different types of USB drives. Some have a large chip behind the connector, some have a very small chip, but don't worry because we're going to make the container match the drive. So let's see, for this one actually I bought a 2-for-1 pack, and actually I've already skinned one of them, and this is the guts of it. So you've got the connector and the chip itself. And what I'm going to do is create basically a pill bottle that is specially sized so that the connector sticks out the appropriate amount and then the lid goes on top of it. So in doing that, I wanted to take into consideration the fact that we need, let's start from the bottom. We need a tenon to hold it in the chuck. We've got the depth of it. We've got the connector, and let's see, right there will be the joint between the bottom and the top, and this will be the outer wall of the top, and then we've got room for a tenon, and then we want to leave a chunk of it back here for as a jam chuck, because once we flip the body around and flip the cap around, we'll need a way to trim and sand the top and bottom. So let's get over the lathe and get started. Okay, we've got the blank mounted between centers. The first thing I want to do is actually re-chew it up, make sure that it's running straight. So I'm going to grab a spindle roughing gouge and we'll do just that. There's a small spindle. We'll probably turn about, 1,500, 1,700 RPMs. There's actually a bit of curl in that. Cool. So, that is the bottom. We'll put a tenon on it here. This will be the actual bottom of the box. Or, let's start with the lid. So this will be the tenon. Depth of the lid is about there. Bottom of it about there. Giving ourselves plenty of room for it to move around. We'll epoxy it in to make sure that it sticks out the appropriate amount, but I want to make sure that we've got enough depth. Parting tool, and I'll cut in that small tenon, that gap, and that end. I may spread it out a little bit. How to avoid that. Alright. Anywho, this is the top and that'll be the body. Let's start with the top. I've measured the width of this and determined that basically the largest point of this is about 3/4, well, the closest drill bit I have that matches it is 3/4 of an inch. So I'll be drilling a 3/4 of an inch hole down into the lid. Marking it with a piece of tape as far as how deep I want to go. Okay. And the next thing I want to do is take a parting tool and kind of split the depth on this to make a little step for the lid and the body to go together. And here I'm just going to kind of split the distance so that I end up with a recess that's about half the wall thickness. Just need to make sure that this is straight. Not bad. So now what I want to do is sand and finish the inside of the lid because I won't get another chance. Okay, I'm gonna get set up to do the body and I'll be right back. Okay, with the body mounted in the chuck, let me drill out to the depth I need. Well, the next step is actually something I should have done first, which is cut that little recess, because if you screw it up, you're going to have to go further back into the box, and I don't have a lot of extra depth here to play with, so I'm going to have to be extra careful. This is going to be a lot of one pass, try it. One pass, stop the lathe, try it. One pass, stop the lathe, try it. So, sorry for the boring bit, but that's what you have to do when you're trying to make a nice fitted box. Just to be on the safe side, let me bring up a cone center to make sure that doesn't go anywhere. Okay, that's the only time that's ever happened where it's been like, okay, once and done. I even got the depth just about right. I think I'm going to have to shave off just a little bit. Shave off just a little bit off that end to take the depth down just a hair. No, when I pulled it out, it's good enough. And actually, since that's such a good fit, it's running fairly true. I'm going to use this as the jam chuck for at least for the top. Well, first, let me transition. Now let me work on rounding over the top. Without the tailstock support, I'm not going to push that way because that's likely to pop the top off or break the joint. I'm always trying to be pushing back towards the chuck. Okay, grab some sandpaper and I'll start sanding. I gotta say, I love Bradford pear. Yeah, it splits when it's green, and maybe you'll only get maybe 60% of the stock you cut green, but man, it's easy to turn and it polishes up wonderfully. Okay. Let's go to the bench and we'll put it together. Okay, assembly is pretty straightforward. What I've done here is taken the USB stick, put it in the body, grabbed some modeling clay and just kind of propped it up and made it so that the stick was in the center of the hole. Make sure that it's going to fit. Now what I'll do is take some epoxy, mix it up, and hopefully, without too much mess, pour it down in there. Not too much. Let's do this. Good one. Now, before it dries, I gotta clean up my mess. Alrighty. And once this dries, that's that. We're done. You could also put a screw hook into either end of this, and then put a split ring on it if you want to put it on a keychain. But once it's dry, we should be good. Thanks for sticking with me. If this is your first time here, please be sure to hit subscribe, comment, share, like. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. Take care.